If really they want to do a stock buyback, do it now. You think you'll see 240? Right. Never, right?
More and more Tesla bulls are predicting Tesla stock buybacks. In fact, some of them are going as far as saying they will happen or that they definitely should happen. Stephen Mark Ryan is urging Tesla for a Tesla stock buyback. He also did this poll, and most investors do agree, at least the ones that follow Stephen Mark Ryan on Twitter, that Tesla should do a buyback as soon as possible. And Stephen said, well, I hope a consequence of this poll will be important. Tesla, are you listening? And if you didn't catch this, this is sort of paraphrasing Elon, how Elon does his polls. Gary Black on Twitter also is urging Tesla to do a buyback, and his reasoning is that this would provide a much better return than just cash piling up at 2 to 3% ROI. We will break all of this down later, and Gary is advocating for a buyback in the billions. So it's a pretty substantial buyback. And of course, Alexandra is also preaching and advocating for the Tesla stock buyback, also because she believes that the stock is not likely to stay under 240 and perhaps never again. So if you believe that, of course, this would be a good idea. She writes that Tesla may consider a strategy similar to the one Apple has been using successfully for the past 9 years, issuing debt to finance share buybacks. Now, Tesla, of course, is expanding a lot, and there's a lot of expenses that Tesla will have due to capital expenditures, such as probably multiple more gigafactories being opened and constructed at the same time. Giga Berlin and Giga Austin, that's just the beginning. So buybacks, they are not a replacement of investments, for example, new gigafactories or research and development. However, check this out from Gary. The internal return of buying Tesla stock today and assuming a 20x PE ratio on 2030 earnings per share of $42 is 23% according to Gary based on his projections. If you look at Tesla's 2023 earnings and you do some math here and you get 3.6%, and then you compare that to 10-year bonds, which are giving you 3.9% in this example, that is not looking that good if you look at this. But when you consider it's 23%, that makes a whole lot sense when you consider that refinancing might cost today maybe 5%, let's say. And when you compare that with 23%, the course of action is then obvious. And then, of course, Tesla stock buybacks could be turned on and off opportunistically. The stock right now is priced at a fire sale price. There is a chance, of course, that if macro completely collapses and if, let's say, S&P drops down to 50% from all-time high, signaling an absolute catastrophic recession, at least when you compare that to 2008, maybe that would happen again. If that happens, of course, there will be more pressure on Tesla stock as well. And 140, 120 is not entirely out of the question if that happens, although many Tesla bulls don't think it's really possible. I'm not completely close to the idea of a stock dropping that much. I think that is possible for sure. However, I don't think, it's very likely. And if it did happen, I really don't think it would go below that, because when you do the numbers, when you project P/E ratio forward, it's when the stock is priced that low, Tesla would definitely, in my opinion, do stock buybacks. And even at this price right now, it would appear to me it certainly makes sense. And Gary points out here that buybacks don't compete with growth initiatives, they do compete with M&A and cash buildup, which Tesla has quite a bit of cash right now. So would Tesla really need to build up its cash reserves even more? Tesla is able to fund its operation from consumers paying for the cars, and it takes longer for Tesla to pay off suppliers. So money comes in from consumers, basically from cars, and then Tesla still has 20 days to pay off all of the suppliers and all of the expenses basically that had to do with selling that car from which they made the money. Tesla can keep that money for almost 20 days, which makes it much easier to scale the company, because the bigger you are, the more cash you will naturally have building up. So Tesla does not really need to worry about cash much at all. If Tesla stock buybacks do happen, there is pressure for them to happen this year, because on the first day of next year, there would be a 1% tax on those buybacks. So if there is a buyback, it would be better to do it this year. And Alexandra believes that the buybacks would be more than 5 billion this year and more than 10 billion next year. So if you would like for Tesla to do a share buyback for Tesla stock, make sure to head over to Twitter and find Stephen Mark Ryan and then vote yes right here. Elon Musk, he does actually see a lot of Stephen's tweets, so there's a good chance this would be seen by Elon Musk as well. Another reason to believe that Tesla stock buybacks will happen, if you read the report from S&P, and if you look at their language, just read this. Do you think this is written by analysts? Or do you think this is basically Tesla putting words in their mouths? Tesla's autopilot and full self-driving FSD technologies could sustain and improve its competitive advantages as it continues to make progress developing its FSD capabilities and remotely updatable artificial intelligence software. That's a very specific language to call FSD artificial intelligence software. I don't know how much faith I would have in S&P to come up with this exact wording to use to call FSD AI. My personal guess is they are talking with Tesla, and if Tesla is talking to them, why are we talking to them? Maybe because they do want to do the buyback and they want that higher investment grade rating, because they would be using debt to do the buyback. So what do I make of all of this? Well, me as an all-in Tesla stock investor, of course, seeing a stock buyback that makes the shares worth more, generally investors see that as a very positive thing. For me, I would, right now I want to buy a few $100,000 worth of Tesla shares and add that to my Tesla stock portfolio. I literally call my stock portfolio Tesla stock portfolio because that's the only stock that I have in my stock portfolio. I would like to do that first, so hopefully I can do that by the end of the year. And if buybacks are announced, I would say they are more likely to happen before the end of the year than after the new year. But we know Tesla and Elon Musk, and oftentimes, it's not everything is exactly organized. So we'll see what's going to happen here. If you'd like to learn why I only own Tesla stock, I made a video about 48 reasons why I only own Tesla stock. My name is Matt Posius. Thank you for watching.